the chair now recognizes the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Casten, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks to all our witnesses, and I want to thank you for coming here today and give you a little respite from financial services. We are all now going to travel to an episode of Shark Tank. Congratulations, you're all billionaires, and I am an entrepreneur with a great idea I'd like to pitch to you, but as a precondition of the pitch, I get to be CEO of the company we're going to build, and I do not have to listen to any of your nonsense as I deploy your capital or make hiring decisions. Are any of you interested in hearing my pitch? Are you interested in signing that term sheet?
No.
I would like to hear the pitch.
You are a weirdo. I frame it that way because it is blindly obvious to the average American how Shark Tank works, what the rules are, and I think we can get caught up in a lot of this language around shareholders, but let us remind my colleagues, as I did yesterday, of Milton Friedman's theory of shareholder primacy that says that corporate executives are employees of corporate owners and are accountable thereto. If you want to know what happens, if you can ignore the interests of shareholders, if you can get money and not have to be accountable to them, I would remind our colleagues of the hearing not that long ago with John Ray and the FTX bankruptcy, and let's ask Sequoia and Citadel what they thought about signing term sheets where they had no authority to impact how capital was spent. Milton Friedman is turning over in his grave, but I am sure that our nation's beleaguered C-suite executives are thanking the Republican Party for standing up for their fragile interests and needs. Mr. Netram, do you believe that companies' climate risks are material information for investors to know? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, sir. Can you repeat the question?
Do you believe that the climate risks of a company represent material information that investors should know?
I think it depends on the underlying company and what the business risks that they faced are.
Okay, you mentioned, I think you used the word material 29 times in your testimony. Are you familiar with the definition of materiality that guides the SEC?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and just to remind everybody, I'll just read it here. It's from the Basic versus Levinson Supreme Court case. Information is material if there is a substantial likelihood that a reasonable shareholder would consider it important in making an investment or voting decision, or if it would have significantly altered the total mix of information available. A reasonable investor, not what certain members of Congress think a reasonable investor should do, because I know more than them what's reasonable. In 2016, the SEC issued a concept release requesting comment on existing disclosure agreements out of the Jobs Act. Do you know what percentage of investors commented on the voluntary reporting commented to say that the involuntary reporting was inadequate to meet the demand for climate-related information?
I do not.
You do know?
I do not.
Yeah, it was 90%. 90% of investors said voluntary reporting is insufficient. Do you know on the current proposed climate disclosures, do you know what percentage of investors have commented in support of climate disclosure in public companies' 10Ks?
I do not.
97%. This debate is settled. There is no question about whether climate disclosures are material unless you think that there are people on this committee who know better than free markets, who know better than the interests of investors. The SEC's mandate, I would remind everybody, is to maintain fair, orderly, and efficient capital markets and to facilitate the formation of capital. It is not to protect C-suite executives. We are here to protect capital markets. We are here to protect free markets. It may hurt my colleagues' opinion, it may hurt their feelings, to be compared to the socialists and communists of lore. And I have tremendous respect for the bipartisan center. I did not misquote Milton Friedman yesterday, but I am going to misquote Barry Goldwater today. Partisanship in defense of free markets is no vice. And I am sorry that it has become partisan to look out for the interests of investors, to look out for competitive markets, to make sure that we do not end up with a capital market full of FTXs where you get a bunch of dumb money where executives can do whatever they want. And I get it, there are people who would like that in this world. Our obligation in Congress is not to look out for them, and I need you all to be full-throated and join us and do that, because if we do not, this beautiful, wonderful economy we have is dead. I cannot believe we are having this conversation. I yield back.